Every child's worst nightmare is they have a monster in their closet or under the bed. I came to the realization at a very young age that I really did. I want to share with you a few encounters that I had in my childhood bedroom, which is actually within spitting distance almost of where I'm sitting right now. I live right beside my parents' house, and growing up, I had multiple encounters with something, not only in my bedroom, but in my closet. This even progressed on as I grew up as an adult, and I wasn't the only one to experience it. My wife, who then girlfriend, when we were just dating, would come over. She had a few experiences. So I want to know in the comments, after you hear these encounters, if you've ever experienced anything quite like this. I could sit here the rest of the day and talk about the little things, the noises that you hear, and I'm sure a lot of those were explainable, but some I'm positive they were not. The day that changed everything happened on a cold February day. I was 12, 13 years old. I'll never forget this day. I was home, me and my mom. She was the only one there with me at the time. I can remember details, and this has been well over 20 years ago, closer to 30 years. And we were just doing our normal, it was a Saturday because I know I wasn't in school. My dad and brother had went somewhere for the day. And this would have been around 11 a.m., 12 p.m., right around noon. There was a specific toy I wanted to play with. And I want to pin a video in the comments because I had a realization not that long ago. This was very reminiscent of my first paranormal experience, and I shared that in a video the other day, so that's going to be in the pinned comments. The little green army men, you know what I'm talking about, the little plastic green army men. I was obsessed with those things growing up. And in my bedroom, I had a huge walk-in closet. Right in the middle, I had a ginormous toy box full of little green army men, toy trucks, cars. But this day, I wanted those army men. Beautiful, sunny day, ghost, paranormal, spooky stuff wasn't even on my mind. My mom, I remember had told me she was going outside to do something, some kind of chore. I'm not sure what she was doing. So I walk in my closet, middle of the day, sunny. I turn on the light, and I'm probably in there for a good 15, 20 minutes, just rummaging through this toy box, looking for these little green army men. Not thinking anything about nothing. And then all of a sudden, I'll never forget it, and every time I share this story, I can feel the hair stand up on my neck. As I'm leaned over, going through this toy box, in my left ear, there was the clearest, very loud and intentional boo, B-O-O, right here that I have ever heard. I was absolutely terrified. Chills are running up my legs and body right now. It may not sound scary, but it's amazing what your mind can process in a matter of seconds, because immediately when I heard this, I turned around thinking maybe my brother had gotten home with my dad and it was him, but there was no one. So my mind went to, well, maybe he ran through the house, which I knew it was impossible for him to have gotten away that quick. But so I take off out my bedroom. I look in my bedroom, under the bed, all around, behind the doors, nowhere. I go out to the hallway, search his room. I search the living room, the family room, my parents' room, their bathroom. I searched the whole house. And my only hope at this point is, well, maybe it was my mom just messing with me. I go all the way to the end of the house. I look out the door. She's still outside. She's in the driveway doing whatever it was she was doing. And it was in that moment that I knew 110% that something was messing with me. And the thing is, it wasn't just a boo like the way I'm saying it. Even at a young age, I could recognize it. I can still hear it in my ear. It sounded like it was full of mischief. It was a maniacal. It almost had a laughter to the tone. a boo, like it knew it was just messing with me, and it worked. And right here, it was literally not an inch away from my ear. That ended the toy search for the day, and I didn't tell my parents, but I do remember later, my brother, he's about 4.5 years older than me, and later that evening I remember telling him what had happened. And he tried to play it off, even though he did believe in the paranormal. Maybe it was just in hopes that he didn't want to admit our house was haunted. I told him what happened, and he said, well, you probably just moved your head a certain way, and there was like a woof of air that went in your ear, and it made you think it sounded like boo, but in reality it wasn't nothing. But I knew better, because this was very intentional, very deliberate, very clear. Boo. No, that's definitely not what happened. But at the same time, I wanted to believe that and just kind of told myself maybe he's right, because that made it less real. But I'll never forget that. Fast forward several years, I'm a grown man now, still living at my parents' home. Yeah, I know. But my wife and I, we were just dating at the time, and she would come over, usually on the weekends, and we would rent movies and hang out in my bedroom. And one night, she fell asleep and she stayed over. I had gotten up and went to the living room to watch TV. And I'll never forget, the next day, I went in later, way later that night, went to bed. But she told me that night, earlier in the night before she fell asleep, she was laying in bed, had the covers pulled up, the lights were off, the TV was off, and she was just trying to go to sleep when she felt something on the bed. And for those of you who have pets inside, dogs or cats, you know what it's like when they hop up in the bed with you and they kind of walk around. You can feel their every footstep, walk around till they find that certain spot. They circle a few times and lay down. That's what she felt. She said as she was laying there, again, she wasn't thinking about ghosts or spooky stuff, paranormal. She was laying there, almost asleep, when she felt something get on the bed. You could feel the impression as it kind of went down, and something walked around her legs, like down, around, and back up the side of her body. And it was not a dog. My mom did have a Maltese in the house, but it was in the other end of the house. She was behind closed doors. But that was just a few things. Like I said a moment ago, I could write a book on the noises, the weird feelings of waking up at 2, 3 a.m. to what sounded like footsteps or things moving around in my room that shouldn't be moving around. The rest of the house I had encounters in also. I'll never forget one morning I got up, I was in high school, and I had went in my parents' bedroom to shave, and which I usually did not do. I shaved in my bathroom, but I'll never forget I was standing in front of the mirror shaving, and I had my head bent over, leaned over the sink, and there was a can of hairspray or something, a metallic shiny can, I remember that. And as I just kind of glanced over at that can, I seen a reflection of, I thought it was my dad, walk behind me. I mean, it was crystal clear. I began talking to him with my head and back to him. I began striking up a conversation, and he didn't answer. I thought, well, that's weird. But I turn around, and he's not there. One time I was in the same bathroom taking a shower, and I was the only one home. But I remember hearing the front door open. Heard someone walk in, heavy, deliberate footsteps. I could hear them from the time they entered the house, go through the living room, kitchen, and make their way toward the bedroom where I was at. And so I was literally getting ready to get in the shower, but I stopped thinking, who's here? Probably my dad or brother, but so I go check, and there's absolutely no one. But I want to know from you guys, did you grow up in a haunted house? Did your bedroom or closet have any ghosts, anything paranormal going on? I appreciate you guys so much. Please like this video, turn on all notifications, and subscribe. That's the best way you can support this channel. If you have any stories, any videos, or pictures you would like to share, You can email me at thesupernaturalsleuth@gmail.com. You can also follow me over on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as The Supernatural Sleuth. Thank you guys so much. Have a great and blessed day. I'll see you soon.